let's go ahead and make some picks for this week, Darren. Of course, we're focusing only on SEC games and not all of the games, just a few of these games. So we're going to start off with Texas A&M, the Aggies coming off of a big win against New Mexico. Yeah, it's New Mexico, so good start for the Bobby Petrino offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connor Wegman looked incredible.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and I think to me that's the bottom line. I don't for my pick. I'm going absolutely A&M on this one because for right now the Bobby Petrino experiment is working. His offense is only going to get better. It looks like the quarterback Wegman is settled into the offense, and I have just seen nothing the last year or this year so far from Miami that tells me that they're going to be able to do anything about it. So, to me, I think this is an easy pick for Texas A&M.
Yeah, put me down for the Aggies as well. An intriguing matchup, Arizona, which is making some big strides in establishing a solid program there, travels to Starkville, where Mississippi State's coming off of a win against Southeastern Louisiana. Mississippi State, pretty veteran-led team. Will Rogers, we've talked about him. I'm going with the Bulldogs here, Darren.
I'm in complete agreement. I think any nerves that you had, especially in the pre-conference schedule, any nerves that you had about Mississippi State were eased in that first game. The offense looks good. The defense looks good. I don't, even though Arizona is making improvement, I don't see anything they can do about Mississippi State. So I'm in agreement. This is a Mississippi State win.
Now it takes us to the West Coast. Auburn's traveling to play against Cal, which came into Denton, Texas last week and beat North Texas in the stifling heat and humidity. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Auburn coming off their first game win under new coach Hugh Freeze. Darren, who you like in this one?
We're obviously, as you said last week, we don't hide our bias. We're fans of the SEC. We're fans of our schools, and we're fans of the SEC because our schools are a part of that. But that being said, this would absolutely shock me if Cal pulls off an upset over Auburn. Even though Auburn obviously still has some issues, I think this is a game Auburn can win.
Yeah, I'm going with Auburn as well. SMU, the Mustangs travel to Norman, Oklahoma, for the Palace on the Prairie at the Palace on the Prairie to play the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma just annihilated Arkansas State in week 1. I hated to see that for Butch Jones, but again, that was a tune-up game for the Sooners. I think working off some frustration from last year. They go against SMU, recently invited to join the ACC, so they're up. They're flying high right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially they were already flying high with NIL. The boosters are like, this is what we tried to do in the 80s. Now we're allowed to do this. This is incredible.
Finally.
They were just before their time.
That's right. They were ahead of the curve. That's all they were doing.
Well, as much as SMU is getting more coverage in the national landscape, I don't think they're going to beat the Sooners. Not in Norman. I think Oklahoma is a much improved team from last year, so I'm going to go with the Sooners.
I'm in total agreement. You look at what Oklahoma did last week, and it was against Arkansas State, but man, it was still impressive and showed a lot offensively. I think we see that continued development. This is an Oklahoma win.
Next up, we have Vanderbilt traveling to Winston-Salem, North Carolina to face the Demon Deacons from Wake Forest, minus Sam Hartman at quarterback. Vanderbilt 2-0, Darren, That's as right. You have already mentioned at least 20 times on this episode.
Who, me? Did I bring that up? By the way, before we get into the game, did you see what I did there? I leaned in to point at Vanderbilt and made my entire body disappear. I don't know how I did that. I'm a little freaked out, but go ahead.
I'm just giving you a moment here.
There you go. Let me just point here. Let me just do that. Still looks like an invisible, coming in from the side. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, go ahead.
Are you done?
I think so.
I mean, you're as long as your team keeps winning, you can take these moments.
I see. Just it creates giddiness. There's nothing you can do about it. It just happens. So,
Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, Darren. I'm gonna support you and go with Vanderbilt here.
and I'm going to do the same. It scares me just because the offense has showed the holes that it has, and even though they don't have the same quarterback they had last year, their offense has been consistent throughout the years for the most part. So I'm a little bit afraid of it, but I'm still going with Vanderbilt. I'm in agreement, and thank you for your support. I appreciate it greatly.
An interesting game. Ole Miss
Mhm.
is traveling down to New Orleans to face Tulane, a program that's really stepped back in the national spotlight,
Yeah,
especially with
absolutely.
their season last year, and they seem to be continuing that winning trend. Ole Miss, a huge opening win against Mercer. Lane
Mhm.
Kiffin's offense going to be exciting to watch. Darren, I'm going to go with Ole Miss pulling out the victory against Tulane.
And I'm in agreement. I'm going with Ole Miss as well because the thing about it is, can Tulane potentially surprise them? Well, of course, when Tulane's played the way they have, especially the last year, there's that possibility. But we see this so many times when an SEC school plays a Power Five school that's having a next level school that's had a great year or is having a great year, and then they meet up against that SEC size and that SEC speed, and it just is not what they thought it was going to be. And so, and I think that's going to be the case this time. I think Ole Miss wins.
And then a big game here, Texas versus Alabama. Now, this is one of my 4 down territory picks, Darren. So
Mhm.
I'm going to beg off choosing right now and save that for 4 down territory. But who do you have in this one?
This has been a real back and forth for me, and I'm still kind of even unsure just because there has been so much uncertainty all off season. But I think you got to give Jalen Milroe some credit. I think he answered some questions. Um, Texas has done nothing to tell me that they are going to lose this game, but at the same time, they've done nothing to tell me that they can beat Alabama, so that they can really rise to that occasion. And so that's what I'm going to have to stick with. So I'm going with Alabama in this one.